The damn HOA forged my signature, hijacked 2,200 acres of my family's forest, and slapped a grimy power station on it like they owned the place. They didn't just trespass, they plunged a knife into our legacy. But those fools forgot one thing. I control the electricity. So I flipped the switch, cut them off cold. Their fancy gates? Dead. Sprinklers? Dry. $1 million homes? Pitch black. They thought I'd cave like some timid farmer. They were dead wrong. Want to know how I made the whole HOA grovel and choke on their own greed? You won't believe what happened next. Where are you reading from? Drop it in the comments if you love a good showdown story. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell. This one's a wild ride. Mist hung low that morning, weaving through the towering pines like it was shielding something ancient. I was already out there, boots sinking into a carpet of needles, fingers brushing bark older than any county record. This forest, too, 500 acres, wasn't just trees. It was blood, memory, legacy. Since 1881, the Hendersons had guarded it, and now I, Lucas Henderson, was the last one standing. I was crossing the old creek bridge when my phone buzzed. I ignored it. Then again 10 missed calls for voicemails. Halfway back to the cabin, I saw it. A sleek black SUV, too polished for these dirt roads, creeping up my gravel drive like it belonged. My stomach dropped. I wiped sweat from my neck and strode toward the porch, boots crunching with every step. The SUV hissed to a stop. The doors swung open, click, click, high heels. Margaret Pierce. I'd heard her name hiss like a curse since the HOA rolled in 8 months ago, but seeing her now crisp white suit, oversized sunglasses reflecting the trees, flanked by 2 HOA lackeys made every ignored warning hit hard. Mr. Henderson, she said, flashing a smile faker than a mannequin's, we need to talk about your active white ties. I didn't budge. You're trespassing. Margaret didn't flinch. She brushed past me, clipboard in hand like she'd rehearsed this. Her goons hovered, puffed up like they mattered. Chainsaw noise at dawn, she read, flipping pages, burning organic debris, disrupting the Pine YEW estate soundscape, and worse nuisance wildlife crossing into our community. Foxes, raccoons, owls. I'm sure you've seen the reports. I stepped off the porch, jaw tight. You mean the animals that live here? In the forest that's been here since 1881 before your HOA was even a thought. Margaret adjusted her glasses like I hadn't spoken. Times change, Mr. Henderson. Pine YEW Estates was built with expectations Wyatt. Order, property value preservation. Your active VY ties VY olate our NVY Ron mental clause. Heat built inside me. You've got no jurisdiction over my land. Her smile curled. Actually, she flipped another page. Your agricultural exemption expired last year. This property now falls under our extended community overlay zone, per county zoning code 42.3. It hit like a gut punch. No tax bill change, no notice, no hearing. You're bluffing, I said, voice low. Oh, it's real, she replied smoothly. The board voted unanimously, full compliance within 48 hours or due law 200 daily fines. I stared, fury rising. This wasn't a backyard, it was Henderson land, sacred, untouchable. And if I don't? I asked through gritted teeth. Margaret stepped closer, lowering her sunglasses. Then we escalate injunctions, enforcement. The county's quite cooperative. Then she dropped it. Let's be honest, Lucas, this forest is outdated. A hazard. Deadwood and critters nobody wants. Your great-grandfather planted tree that doesn't make you a conservationist. It makes you sentimental. Time stopped. My fist clenched, nails biting skin. Every rustle in the branches felt like a warning. I lunged forward, closing the gap. Margaret flinched but held her ground. Don't you dare talk about my family, I hissed. Don't stand on my land spewing HOA trash and insult the man who built this with his bare hands. Her goons shifted, uneasy. Margaret stiffened, but I saw the fear flicker. I suggest you calm down, she said, voice cracking just enough. I suggest you get off my property before I show you how I handle trespassers, I growled. A hawk cried overhead. Margaret stepped back. We'll be in touch, she said, masking the tremor. You bet you will, I snapped. Next time, I'll have my lawyer and a shotgun waiting. They scurried to the SUV, tires spitting gravel as they fled. The forest went quiet, but inside me, a storm was brewing. I didn't sleep that night. The cabin's silence suffocated me, the old clock ticking like a countdown to something I couldn't name. Margaret's smug face haunted me. It's not yours anymore. Her words echoed like gunfire. By sunrise, I was splitting cedar logs when I heard the same black SUV crawling back up my drive, slow and deliberate. My gut twisted. This wasn't a random check they thought I'd fold. I slammed the axe into the stump and marched to the porch. Margaret stepped out, flanked by her two stooges, but no fake smile this time. She looked ready to bury me. "You've got some nerve," I gritted. She ignored me, strutting forward, heels popping like shots on the gravel. "Mr. Henderson, I thought you'd come to your senses. The transfer's recorded. The community expects compliance." "The community," I spat, "doesn't get to steal from me." She raised an eyebrow. "You should thank us we're modernizing this dump. That old timber, those stray animals, gone, replaced by something people want." Her words stung like a slap. I stepped down, shoulders squared, closing the gap until I saw fear in her eyes. "You call my land a dump?" I growled. "My family bled for this forest. They lived and died here. You think you can waltz in with clipboards and turn it into a manicured playground?" Margaret chuckled, cold and sharp. "It's called progress, Lucas. Don't be stubborn just because you're sentimental." Then she broke me. Leaning in, she whispered with venom, "Maybe your parents should have taught you how to hold on to it properly." The world froze. My fists clenched, knuckles white, chest heaving. Without thinking, I grabbed her jacket collar and slammed her against the porch post. Her sunglasses flew off, shattering. Her lackeys froze, eyes wide. "You ever mention my parents again," I snarled, low and guttural, "I'll bury this HOA before you get another word out." "Understand," Margaret gasped, struggling. I wanted her to feel the rage, the weight of every tree, every memory, every drop of sweat and blood in this land. "Let go," she stammered. Slowly, deliberately, I released her. She stumbled back, nearly tripping. Her goons didn't move. She brushed dirt off her jacket, but the damage was done. The queen was rattled. "You'll regret this, Henderson," she spat, voice shaky. I stepped forward, making her flinch. "Not as much as you will." She stormed back to the SUV, lackeys trailing like whipped dogs. As they disappeared, I stood there, fists shaking, heart pounding like a war drum. This wasn't a dispute, Anna Marie, it was war. And I was ready. By mid-afternoon, I was deep in the eastern ridge, past the creek where the forest thickened and the canopy swallowed the sky. Boots crushed needles as I pushed through untouched brush, tension still burning in my chest. I needed answers. Then I saw it, steel half buried under dirt and pine straw, a fresh concrete slab with a metal hatch labeled high voltage. Beyond it, hidden among the trees, a humming electrical substation. My blood turned to ice. Power lines, conduits, a new maintenance road snaked into the hillside. I staggered forward, fist clenched, scanning the nightmare. "Son of a," I spat. Two men in hard hats stood nearby, fiddling with clipboards. Not loggers, not local contractors, West VYEW Energy, slick and corporate. I stormed out. "Hey!" They jolted, one dropping his clipboard. "What the hell is this?" I barked. One raised his hands, fake friendly. "Sir, this is a restricted work site on my goddamn land." I snapped. He blinked. Talk to the HOA, the hell I will." I warned. "Who authorized this?" Before they could answer, I spotted the badge West of YEW Energy. It clicked. The fines, the fake jurisdiction, the overlay zone. They weren't just controlling the forest, they were building a power plant for Pine YEW. On my land. Without a word, I sprinted back through the woods, teeth gritted, fury blazing like wildfire. Margaret hadn't come to threaten, she'd come to gloat. But I wasn't letting them finish this. Not without a fight. I tore through the attic like a madman, old trunks, dusty crates, yellowed map, searching for anything to turn the tide. My breath burned as I flung junk aside. Then I saw a brittle envelope between floorboards, marked Power 1947 in faded ink. My fingers shook as I ripped it open. Inside, a handwritten contract, my great-grandfather's name scrawled at the bottom like carved stone. I scanned the clauses: exclusive ownership and control of Henderson Ridge Substation and all power lines. All energy distribution across Henderson Forest was under our discretion. My pulse raced. They weren't just stealing land, they were tapping my grid. He hadn't just owned the dirt, owned the electricity. I slammed a fist on the floor. Those bastards. Blueprints tucked behind the contract showed the master switch still operational, still on my untouched 300 acres. They needed my power. The realization hit like lightning. They didn't just build on my land. They depended on it. I stood, gripping the papers like a weapon. You picked the wrong forest, Margaret, I growled, voice echoing in the empty house. I wasn't alone. I had history, the law, and the means to make them crawl. Wind howled through the pines as I stood before the rusted control box on the western edge of my 300 acres. The steel door creaked open, revealing the old master switch, untouched for decades but intact. Gauges twitched like they were alive. I ran my fingers over the engraved plate. Henderson Ridge Substation, property of the Henderson family, 1947. Doubt vanished. They think they can own me, I muttered. They're about to learn who pulls the plug. I grabbed the lever, muscles straining against rust. Metal groaned, bolts flexed, but I pushed harder, teeth gritted. With a sharp clang, it locked off. Silence. Then, from the distance, the hum sputtered and died. Pine VYEW Estates flatlined. My phone lit up calls, texts, chaos pouring in. No power, water pumps dead, gates unresponsive. Did you hear about an outage? I sat on a stump, ignoring it all, watching the forest calm, timeless, indifferent to the panic beyond. Then Margaret called. Yeah. Her voice cracked. What the hell did you do? The whole community's out, lights, water, security, everything. I didn't flinch. Sounds like a power problem. Don't play games. Did you shut it down? I stood, letting the breeze carry my words. I did what the law says I can. That substation you built? It's on my infrastructure, my switch, my land. You stole the forest but forgot the roots. Now you don't get a what? You can't do this, she shrieked. I just did. She breathed hard, then threatened. You'll regret this, I swear. I grinned. No, Margaret, you will. I hung up, her words dying in static. From the ridge, I saw Pine VYEU's outlined arc windows, dry fountains, residents spilling into streets like ants. I stood, fists clenched, watching the chaos. This was just the beginning. By noon, Pine VYEW was crumbling, cars jammed at powerless gates, residents pacing, sprinklers dry, pools stagnant, HOA boards scrambling like rats. Calls kept coming. I ignored them until Margaret showed up. No pristine SU, just a mud-streaked sedan coughing up the drive. She stepped out, wrinkled suit, dirty heels, hair frayed, but desperation still gleamed behind those sunglasses. She marched halfway up the path, forcing composure. Lucas, we need to talk. I leaned against the doorframe, savoring it. Well, if it isn't the neighborhood SAVYOR. She winced. I know you're upset, but let's be reasonable. I chuckled coldly. Reasonable? You forged documents, stole 2,200 acres, built your substation, and thought I'd roll over. Now you want reasonable. Her throat bobbed. We can compensate you money, access, naming rights. I stepped down, boots cracking gravel, closing in until she backed up. You think I care about naming rights? Pocket change? You robbed me, spat on every Henderson who bled for this land. She swallowed hard. Without power, people are suffering. Families, spare me. I cut in, voice sharp. You didn't care about families when you signed that deal behind closed doors. You cared about profit. Her voice cracked. Pine VYEU's collapsing. The board's furious. I need you to turn it back on. I grinned, stepping closer until she couldn't escape my gaze. Good. I want you desperate. Her mask slipped at a con artist clutching a falling house of cards. You'll never get away with this, she spat weakly. I already have, I fired back. But I'm generous. Tomorrow, 9 a.m., bring the board, the developer, every rat who signed off on this. My kitchen table. She blinked, stunned. I smirked. And Margaret? You won't be making demands. You'll be listening. She stumbled back to the sedan, defeated, roaring off. Satisfaction washed over me. I wasn't just holding the line, I was winning. Tomorrow, they'd kneel. At 9 a.m., I stood at my kitchen table, arms crossed, eyes on the doorway. The clock ticked loud, but I was steady. Margaret entered first, followed by the board. 5 pale faces. Henry, the treasurer, couldn't look at me. The West of YEW developer, a sharp-jawed man in a blue suit, trailed like a shark in poison water. Last, a stiff woman with a briefcase, the HOA's attorney. They filed in, silent, defeated. I didn't offer seats. Margaret cleared her throat. Mr. Henderson, shut up, I snapped. She froze. I let the silence choke them, then slammed documents on the table. Dust rose. These, I growled, are the original deeds, signed by my great-grandfather. Untouched. I flipped a page. This is the 1947 power contract, full rights to the grid you built on. The attorney opened her mouth, but my glare silenced her. And this, I tossed a fake deed beside the real one, is proof of your forgery. 2 handwriting experts confirmed it's fraud. Henry flinched. I leaned forward. You forged my name, stole 2,200 acres, sold it like a cheap lot for condos and tennis courts. Margaret's mask cracked. Lucas, you don't understand, no. I snapped, stepping closer. You don't. This forest isn't a deal, it's blood, legacy. You tried to pave it with lies. The developer raised his hands. I didn't know, save it, I barked. Ignorance doesn't excuse theft. Silence. I turned to Margaret. You knew exactly what you were doing, thought I wouldn't fight. Thought you could bulldoze history for profit. It wasn't personal, she trembled. My laugh was ice. Everything about this is personal. I pointed to my cousin Jake, filming live. Say hi to Pine VYEW. They've been watching. The board paled. Every HOA member, every family you lied to, knows about the forgery, the bribes including the due law $50,000 in your account. Henry, after the sale. Henry broke. I didn't think it'd go this far. She said it was legal. Margaret spun. Shut up, Henry. He faced the camera, eyes wet. We lied. She said Lucas would fold, that nobody cared about old trees. I clenched my jaw. Those trees kept this town alive when your HOA was just a real estate dream. Margaret lunged. You have no right. I have every damn right. I roared, slamming the table. I have deeds, contracts, law, truth. You've got a collapsing HOA and criminal charges coming. She stumbled back, shaking. The developer slipped out. The attorney whispered, we need to cooperate. I nodded. Damn right. Margaret glared, but I leaned in, whispering, you'll regret this. The camera rolled as the room unraveled. Henry collapsed. The board broke, and Margaret stood cornered. I faced the stream. This land is mine. Always was. No forged paper, fine, or developer will take it. Comments exploded. The forest had spoken, and everyone heard. By afternoon, Pine VYEW burned with outrage. I watched from the ridge as residents gathered, phones out, HOA forums ablaze with clips from the stream. Truth spread like wildfire. Sirens wailed. Sheriff's SUVs hit the HOA office. Deputies stormed in, then escorted Margaret and the board out under furious eyes. I grabbed binoculars, savoring it. Margaret's face was ashen, her image shredded. Residents shouted, waved phones, demanded refunds. Henry collapsed on the steps, broken. The developer? Gone. Jake called. They dissolved the board. Emergency vote 70. Fantram want the HOA charter scrapped. I chuckled. That's what happens when you cut their kingdom's power. Best part, he laughed. They want me as interim president to clean it up. I grinned. You always like breaking things to rebuild them. By sundown, news vans clogged Pine VYEW. Forgery, fraud, and fallout. Pine VYEW HOA implodes. On TV, Margaret shoved past cameras, silent. One yelled, did you forge the deed? Another, anything to say to the families you defrauded? She clutched her purse, shielding nothing. Jake texted, residents want the forest protected, untouchable. The weight settled. My family's forest was safe. I stepped onto the porch, gazing at the dark valley. No smug board, no phony rules, no trespassers, just 2,500 acres standing tall. I whispered into the wind. We held the line. The VY Tory was carved into the roots. 3 days later, Margaret's battered sedan rolled up at dusk. No guards, no SU, just her, sunken-eyed, shuffling like each step cost her. I watched from the porch, arms crossed, letting silence sink in. She stopped, eyes on the dirt. I need to talk. I raised an eyebrow. About how you forged your way into ruin? She flinched. Please, she said softly, I lost everything. Good, I said, flat. That's the first honest thing you've said. She wiped her eyes. They voted me out. My husband took the kids. I don't have a home in Pine VYEW. They blame me. Because you're damn responsible, I replied. Her voice cracked. It wasn't supposed to go this far. I wanted to matter, to build something. I slammed my boot down. By stealing 2,200 acres? Selling it behind locked doors. She trembled. I wasn't trying to ruin it all. You succeeded anyway, I snapped. Silence hung sharp. She met my eyes, broken. Do you hate me? I stared, thinking of the trees nearly lost, the graves almost paved, the lies choking the town. No, I said coldly, but I'll never forget. Neither will this town. She staggered. Will you press charges? Doesn't matter, I said. The DA's already on it. She slumped, nodded weakly, and shuffled back to her car, heels dragging. As she drove off, I stood steady, holding closure, not rage. That's for the forest, I whispered. The pines answered back. Weeks passed. I never flipped the switch back on. Pine stayed in quiet chaos. Some sued, some left, but most stayed. Something shifted. Neighbors patched fences, shared generators, cleared debris. No HOA, no fines, no fear. It felt alive. Jake's truck rumbled up the hill. It's done, he said, breathless, handing me papers. HOA's dissolved. Charter's dead. And the town council signed this. I read, Henderson Forest Permanent Conservation Zone. My throat tightened. No development. No rezoning. Untouchable. Your family's land is safe, Jake said. I muttered, damn right. He grinned. They want you to design a community garden by the old mill. I smirked. Me, working with HOA sur VY. They're humbled, he shrugged. They want something real. I stared at the forest, hearing my father's voice, my grandfather's laugh. Maybe it's about time, I said quietly. Later, I stood before the town under the Henderson pines. This land isn't just dirt or trees, I began. It's the backbone of this community, my family, everyone who cared beyond profit. You tried to take it, forged it, sold it, dug into it. It pushed back not because of me, but because of roots, history. The crowd hung on. Now it's ours again. Protected by us. Applause roared. Families approached with ideas, gratitude. Henry offered a quiet apology, then slipped away. As night fell, I stood alone under the stars. Margaret never returned. I knew she wouldn't. The fight was over, but the roots remained. We did it, I whispered. The forest answered. Weeks later, the days turned quiet, honest good days. Sun bled gold through the pines, wind hummed like an old tune. I walked the land, not fighting, but listening. Kids ran barefoot under oaks, families gathered at the Crino wristbands, no permits. Laughter echoed the music the land craved. The real VY Tory wasn't beating Margaret or the HOA, the contract, or the power lines. It was remembering. Legacy isn't just acre guides how you stand when someone tries to take what matters. It's deciding to hold the line, even outnumbered. It's knowing some things aren't for sale not because they're priceless, but because their worth is ancient. This forest was where my father taught me to swing an axe, where my mother read Seasons in the Wind, where my grandfather planted seedlings that now touch the sky. They didn't leave me money, they left roots. Roots hold families through generations, communities through divishon, history through greed. Margaret thought power was in signatures, permits, codes. Real power is knowing where you stand, who you stand for. I won because I remember this place is sacred. It breathes because they breathed life into it. It stands because they stood. It'll outlast me because I stood too. You might not have a forest, 2,500 acres, or ancient stones, but you have something family, a home, a skill from your grandfather, a song from your grandmother, a quiet story. Hold it. Fight for it. Someone like Margaret will call it outdated, offer deals with sharp smiles. You can fold or plant your feet and say, not today. Not every fight is about winning some or about showing the next generation what standing looks like. Nothing you build matters more than the roots you leave. Plant them deep. When the storm comes, you'll stand like this forest. This wasn't just about power lines, forged papers, or HOA games. It was about standing your ground when someone tries to erase what you and your family built. Legacy is blood, sweat, roots. When someone swings to take it, you swing back harder. I fought for history, for those before me, for those after. I'd do it again without blinking. Now, tell me what would you do if someone tried to steal your family's legacy? Drop it in the comments. If you like this fight, smash that like, subscribe, and ring the bell because greedy HOAs always pick the wrong neighbor.